Good afternoon, everyone, or good evening, good morning, depending on where you're joining from. So, welcome to another hangout of Developer Stories. Yeah. So, this Developer's Journey brought to you by Developer Stories Africa. And so, I'm Kibet Philas. I'm another developer and one of the leads here at Developer Stories. And it's been a while before we were doing this, but yeah, we are back finally. So before we can, today we are having Abel Masila is a front-end engineer, very experienced person, and we'll talk more about, we'll hear about his journey and lessons he has learned throughout the developer journey. Yeah. So before that, I have my co-host and I want to introduce themselves. So Henry, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, hello. My name is Henry. I'm part of the leads here at Developer Studies Africa. Yeah, I'm Android developer as well as blockchain developer. So today we are glad to have one of most experienced developers. So we hope to learn from him as well. Yeah, so thank you.
Donald.
Hello guys, my name is Donald. I'm one of the community leads we have here. Uh, we're bringing here Abel Masila today to give you his story. Yeah.
Yeah, so thanks. So I think we can start. So welcome, Abel. We're glad to have you. We have been looking for you for quite a while. You know that.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're glad it's finally opening. And yeah, so so the first part is we are usually interested in knowing when you started, like yeah, how you started up to where you are now. And so I think you can start by introducing yourself and then how you ended up in tech.
All right. Thanks, Theo and Donald and Henry. It's been a long time coming for this. I've been looking forward for this session. So as you've said, my name is Abel Masila. I'm a developer based in Kenya, and I have specialized on front-end development for quite some time. And let me give you a story on how I got started and my education background, and until we are here now. So this is going to be a long story. So I went to a good primary school here in Kenya, back in the village. Had not so much information about computing back then. It was a long time ago. Then fast forward, I joined high school, and one thing about high school is that I did not even take computer studies as an elective course, as an elective subject. But something was happening which was very funny is I was attending all practical computer lessons in the computer lab until it got to a point where the computer science teacher, though that I was one of his students, and he was even ready to give me an exam. And I told him I did not take computer as one of the subjects. And it was quite fun learning how to do computing back then, even though I was not getting examined. And I did well. I cleared high school and joined university. I joined Mary University back in 2012, and I was so keen to choose a course which is directly related to computing, and I think I did change my course selections for the entire 2 weeks time frame, which is usually offered by the Kenyan government to help you choose a course of or if you like it. So every day I used to go there, change the course, pick computer science, pick IT, pick computer engineering, until I settled on Bachelor of Science in Information Technology, that is BCIT, and I got that at Meru University. And when I stepped to Meru University back in 2012, of course, I did not have a laptop, first joining. So, but a couple of weeks later, my mom brought me a very nice laptop. And I think the bug beat me at that point. So I started learning stuff, learning HTML, learning CSS. And by the time I was in year 1, semester 2, I attended a boot camp from iLab Africa. They were teaching USSD using PHP, and I started learning about PHP and getting knowledge on backend and full stack development. Back then, we don't have React, all this fancy stuff, so we're still doing PHP, jQuery, and lots of HTML and CSS and Bootstrap. So I spent countless hours in the library, not really reading, but using the library Wi-Fi because it was very strong. And people who have schooled with in the university know that well. Like there is a place I used to sit, just me, from morning to morning. Like I'd leave the laptop there, go and take a nap, and come back, watching, learning, and repeating. By the time I was in that year, I was doing projects for 4 years using PHP. I was making some some money here and there, not so much money, but for a campus student, I think it's really something that you can use skills and make some money. Then I graduated with a second class upper division. But my university life was very funny. I used to excel very well in class, but I was not even interested in going to class. But I used to excel very well. I used to perform very well, but my interests were not the class thing. Just go there and read and pass the exams and research on my own. So I cleared university back in 2015. Then we graduated in 2016, and that is when I got my first professional job here in Nairobi. And I think that's a little bit of my background on education and where my career started at. So initially, as you have seen, I have started out as a PHP engineer in campus with a little bit of C Sharp, doing desktop application. Right now, desktop is not a thing right now. It's not like a hot cake like we have front end and mobile and stuff. But back then, desktop applications were the it thing. So knowing VB.NET, knowing C Sharp, it was quite fun. I remember even when I was in university, I did mobile development. Back then, we did not have Android Studio. We had Eclipse, ADT. So it was quite a journey for me, studying and researching in campus. I had interest in mobile, which I don't have right now. I had interest in desktop application development, which I don't have right now. But it was a good basis for me, and I think it really paid off to the things which I do right now. So I got my first job in 2016 here in Nairobi. That's going to be a very long story about that, how that job came to be and how the experience was. But yeah, it was a C Sharp engineering role. So I first interned at that company and then got the job there. But you see, as a young engineer, you are always looking for a little bit of money to sustain yourself after campus. You have just moved to the city, and that is something which I was missing a lot from that company. Like there was no such thing as good remuneration or compensation. And but even though I really learned a lot, I learned how to create ERP solutions using C Sharp and ASP.NET. I interacted with high-end MySQL configurations and all these whatnots about ERPs. I wrote so many functions, database functions, and stored procedures, things which I learned in university, but I did not know where to apply them. I applied them, but there was no money. So, as a young person, you get motivation. You also have needs. So, I did that job for like 1.5 years, and I stopped doing C Sharp and Microsoft stuff at that point. And I remember even before I quit a job, actually I did not quit the job. Like it was so chaotic when you are not getting paid. You decide to leave, and then your employer takes their laptop back, so you are in Nairobi with no laptop, with skills, and then with no money too. So after there's a gap between me leaving the job and getting another job where I was installing point of sale softwares here in Nairobi and outside Nairobi. It was quite funny because that's not the thing I wanted to do. But I needed money to buy a new laptop. So a friend of mine gave me the job and a laptop. So I've installed POS here in Nairobi, in Kitui County, all these areas just to get money. Then I bought my laptop after quitting that job. Then I went to do an interview, I think at Valley Coffee, which is here in Nairobi. I think just in CBD. So I was there crunching this interview. Of course, I had paid for a little bit of coffee for 200 bob to access Wi-Fi and to be able to install a little bit of software and then do the interview. So I failed the interview, but something happened while I was at it. Somebody tapped me while I was doing the interview, and they told me that they are looking for engineers. And Matthew, this is a stranger. I'm at a cafe. I don't know any person. So I told this guy, just give me your number. I will call you once I'm done with this interview. Then we'll see what to do. So I called this guy after leaving the cafe. Of course, I failed. They were looking for 80% performance. I think I scored around 72% performance. So I was immediately disqualified by the system, but that's no big deal. I called this guy after getting home, and he was like, "We are looking for React engineers, and if that's something you do, we can come for an interview tomorrow." It was on Friday, so Saturday. So I went for the interview. It was I was not very experienced with React back then. I mean production level experience for React. So we interviewed and got the job, and then it was towards the end of February. So this guy offered me a job, and then the guy paid me fully for the services offered. Even though I had worked for like 5 days, they paid me fully for the month. And I really fell in love with JavaScript back from that point. Like now I started taking JavaScript seriously, even though I was doing JavaScript on the side. Now that it's paying bills, then that's how I got into React and stuff. So I have worked for that company. It's called Sinbad Technologies. We did build a platform for Tanzania Import Regulation Authority. We built that, and then I left for MOOC Africa, where we built a ticketing platform before joining Andela, where I worked for X2 AI. Then X2 AI hired me full time, so I work for X2 AI directly right now, and it's been quite the journey. It's been fun. It's been fun working for these companies and getting the exposure. So I think that's one of the longest introductions you guys have had.
Oh yeah, that's quite interesting, Henry.
Yeah, so I was just checking out the other guys on YouTube Live, and they're really catching up. So that was a very interesting background, I must admit, because being a developer, I mean, it's quite a journey. So that's why we are here today. And you have actually, there's no need for me because we have a list of questions that not really questions, but a conversation that we want to have. So you actually answered everything because you're supposed to tell us a bit about yourself. When did you start your development journey and how it has been so far? So you actually did so well. It is
Thank you.
yeah, it's
Thank you.
I think you didn't leave anything behind. So I just want to ask. I will go on straight and ask you this question, which was, can you speak about maybe some of the challenges you faced early in your career when you're starting out, and probably what kept you going past those challenges?
Thanks for the question. It's a nice question, and it's quite a broad question. Starting out as a young engineer in Kenya back then was not as easy as it is right now. And this is why back then people are looking for some sort of engineers, like people who know Java to the core. People are doing complex ERP systems, but then back then the only people who are doing that, they are big corporates, and it was quite a challenge even getting my first internship here in Nairobi. And when I got it, it was not as good as I wanted it to be. Like right now, people are interning right now. They are getting a little bit of experience more than I did back then. One of the biggest challenge was first getting the job and then maintaining the job and still being happy about the kind of work which you are doing here. I usually tell people engineering is art, like all the things which when you sit down, start coding, it's pure art, and you need to be in the right environment, right state of mind to execute this thing and make it perfect. And I really missed on that when I was starting out. Like, it was not even about perfection anymore. It was just get to the job, sit on the desk, have your laptop on, probably run a little bit of queries here and there, show them that you are working, but really you are not really impacting quite a lot. And even the learning which you are which you are doing right now, it's not being guided. So it was very hard even to sustain the job and back then. And the people who are giving you this job expect so much from you, yet there was no guidance at all. And I believe working on software is should be fulfilling, because you are solving somebody's problem. And if I found myself not really getting to the end of the cycle of development, that is when I was starting out. But I came to learn after working for people who know how to run a company and who don't know how to run a company. At least I learned a couple of ways not to run a company. So I would say it was all interest, but I did learn a couple of ways not to do it. Of course, money has always been a problem. We are all adults, and we have responsibilities. Somebody is taking you to school, and when you get a job in the city, people think that you have money. You are in the city, you need to have money, and you're working for somebody. So that kind of expectation really puts you on the edge. You also want to get paid, and most people back then did not pay in tons, even though you are doing work which brings income to the company. There was no any sort of compensation. It doesn't mean it had to be a lot of money, but just compensation, appreciation that you're doing something for us, and we can see value. Right now, things have changed. I've seen Microsoft paying interns quite the money. I think that was the kind of salary people were getting when they got the job in a big company. But now even interns can get it. Where I work right now, I think the money they pay interns is a lot more than we have in Kenya, because I work in the US. But it's a good thing. It's a good thing to get you motivated. You will not pay bills by exposure or any kind of all these things these stories which people tell you. But those are the challenges. But right now, I think things have changed. So people who are getting into it right now, they're going to have a nice journey starting right now or a couple of years back.
Fantastic. I mean, such great insights there. Personally, I believe, yeah, the developers, sorry, who are starting out right now, I mean, the space is quite, the learning curve is not that steep as it was back, I mean, during your times, yeah. So those are some of the insights, like, personally, I'm so glad to hear, because there's someone out there who is also starting out, and they're clueless. But here at Developer Stories Africa, we want to provide a home where everyone who is starting out can come and hear stories from other people who made it. Okay, so that was so well elaborated. I want to know, what are your thoughts about entry-level jobs and the interviewing process, especially in Kenya right now. I mean, what are your thoughts? Kindly share.
Yeah, so entry-level jobs and interviewing in Kenya. Uh, huh. Let's first talk about entry-level jobs in Kenya. Right now, an entry-level job in Kenya is probably a mid-level job out there in a different country, because of the expectation and the job description out there. But I think people are people are having a ride on the entry-level job specification, expecting so much from somebody who is supposed to be entry level. But I think at this moment, since we have communities right now, every now and then you see Vue.js having a community, React, Angular. I think we have been exposed to so much on what's expected of you at different stages in your career. But in Kenya, I think we still have a gap between the understanding of an entry-level engineer and a mid-level engineer, and we end up finding an entry-level engineer even interviewing for a role which they even don't know anything about, but it's a bigger role. When I was starting out, I was not really looking at the job title because I wanted satisfaction, and if I interviewed right now, back then, with the kind of setup we have right now, the community, the ecosystem, I would have failed all those interviews. Because even my first interview, the person did not even ask me about algorithms or this technical stuff which are being asked there. He asked me to show him some code I've written in React, and let's walk through this code. It was one of the interviews which I really enjoyed because this code I've written, you want to understand why I've written it this way, and you want to hear my thought process. And I believe that is one of the ways to go with interviewing junior engineers, because it's so hard to jungle between algorithms and knowing how Vue.js works, or Angular works, or PHP works, and then combining all that together for just an entry-level job. But right now, I think interviewing in Kenya is getting a little bit tough. Not because the jobs are very complicated. It's because of the I think the community. Right now, I would interview for a senior React developer. Not that I want to interview for that job, but because of the title senior, because I believe it comes with a little bit more of money or responsibility. But very few people are looking for junior engineers because they think that they are not really experienced. But I think that's not it. If somebody trusted me to work on their platform with close to zero production level experience, and it was a success, I believe it's time we open up jobs for these entry level engineers. I've seen guys who have graduated from Moringa School out here still not having jobs. Guys who have done a little bit of courses here, not having jobs because they're entry level. But I think if the Kenyan ecosystem, or just let's say East Africa, because right now you can work in Tanzania without a permit, or in Uganda, the kind of expectation we're having for these people, if we can a little bit lower that and give them a chance to grow, they will all become senior engineers in the next couple of years. But I also think that's a gap right now. I rarely see entry-level engineer jobs being posted out there. People are looking for experienced engineers, and experience comes from practice. Interviewing in Kenya right now, I've interviewed for so many companies, man. I can write a book on how many interviews I've done and how many I've failed. Mostly the kind of interviews I've done in Kenya, I'd say they have been satisfactory. I interviewed with Andela. It took like 4 months before I joined. The process was quite lengthy, and I loved the experience interviewing for Andela. And this the reason is why I love the interviewing process for Andela is you get to even understand your role even before you get to it. So you get a technical interview, you are good technically, but you also want to see if you can lead a team, or you are a person who knows how to communicate. If you are the kind of person to collaborate and all this kind of stuff. So by the time you even get to the last part of the interview, you have already even started learning things which you did not know, which are not technical. But you see, Andela is a big company. Small companies, I think they overlook a little bit more. They just want your code ability, your ability to code, and they miss your collaborative and your communication skills. And I think it's something which hiring managers need to put into place. Like, apart from being technical, it takes a lot to work with in a team. Code is, I think, the least of the problems when you're working in a team. Even working for a big company, I think it's going to be a little bit more than code.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, Henry, maybe just a follow up on interviewing. So there are some people. So currently there are a lot of people switching careers and others maybe dropping out of school just to learn to code. So if you are interviewing someone, maybe just an interview, so what could you overlook, the degree or the skills?
I think I would not ask you whether you went to school or not at the beginning of the interview. If you have the confidence to apply, I believe there's something which you feel like you can offer. So along the line when we are talking, I'll learn a few things about you, and you see the ability for you to be taught. It's one of the greatest things for an engineer to have. I don't say people should go to school or to have a degree or anything like that, but your ability to be taught. If you don't need to go to school to have the ability to be taught, and most people miss that part when they say they are self-taught. You need to be able to be taught by somebody, or even before you teach, you need to be taught and listen. So when I'm talking to you in an interview, I will obviously overlook things to do with academics and stuff, but there are things which come out naturally by interacting with people in a huge environment. For instance, I would always advise people to go to Moringa or just go somewhere, sit with people, just learn something. Even if you are going to be taught things which the goal is not learning HTML. You also learn communication skills, how to interact with people, how to express yourself, how to manage expectations, even how to express your ideas, and how to argue with people without offending them. Somebody told me code is not like a religion, and people take code like religion, where I've written this code, I've fallen in love with it, I want to hold this thing close to me. And that's why you find people arguing a lot. I like PHP, I like JavaScript, or PHP is dying, and they get so emotional with this thing, they can even start crying or abuse you on this social platform. You interacting with people, you will know how to express your ideas without getting offended or offending other people. If I'm interviewing you, I want to see that come out. And if I'm also interviewing you, I also want to see your confidence editing code. Like, that's something which people don't know. If I'm interviewing you, I will not even tell you start from scratch. I'll give you code which has got bugs. I want to see how you think about this thing, how you navigate the bugs. Do you have the confidence to change my code? Because it's not always that you'll find people starting from scratch when they are building projects. You find that there's existing code base. I also need to have faith that you can join the team and edit this code with confidence. These are things which come from practice and interacting with other people. I think academics only comes into play when you are looking for managerial positions, because leadership you cannot teach yourself leadership. This is something somebody can teach you, and then you practice and master. So at some point you'll need some sort of academic proof that you have learned this skill.
Well, thank you very much. So my take on that particular question by my colleague, what I take from it is, are you teachable? Yeah, can someone teach you? Are you teachable?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that is the most important thing, because if you can be taught, which means then you definitely get the job done. And what you said is very important, is just give people chances. As you pointed out, that early in your career, somebody trusted you with zero production experience and you were able to deliver. So I think that is a good thing, and companies, especially in Kenya, should embrace that. Yeah. So with that being said, I wanted to know what are your thoughts concerning about mentorship? I know you've spoken about that, but I would love to know what are your thoughts about mentorship, and if you're currently mentoring anyone, or are you open to mentoring anyone?
Okay. Yeah, I think this question has been brought up in a different community by a different community, and everyone needs a mentor. Don't be lied. You need, even I have mentors, people I look up to and people I communicate to, and people we brainstorm together. Having a mentor is one of your superpowers as an as person who's growing into tech or even an experienced engineer. Right now, I think we don't have so many mentors right now in the country who are willing to teach you or to hold your hand. I have mentored a couple of people. I took a break from that because, of course, yeah, you see, as life goes on, responsibilities come, and time becomes something which is very precious. Within the last year, I did not mentor so many people. I got a daughter, very lovely girl. So most of my time was directed to family. But now she's grown. She even wants to take the laptop and code. So that's where most of my energy has been at. But I'm getting back at it, and I want to build something amazing about mentorship right here. And it's going to be free of charge, of course. And it's going to be interactive. And I'm not going to be the only mentor here. I'm looking for a pool of mentors. Last year, I talked to some guys, and they were open for the idea. We have an all community meetup, and just brainstorm this thing, and then have timelines and have people who are willing to volunteer to mentor people. So some people have reached out to me for mentorship. I think I'll resume mentorship from February. Right now, I'm interviewing for a different role somewhere, so all my energy is all out there. But from February, I think I'll be out there mentoring people, and I want to give back to the community. Like, I believe most of my career has been built by community. You'll don't believe that I've gone for Atlassian events for 6 years without missing any of them. Not because Atlassian community is the only community which I want to, but they are the pool, the networking out there. I think I've gotten a job from Atlassian community, interacting with people. I also got a mentor from the community, but he's not in Kenya. So if you can get a mentor, please get one. I'm also mentoring people in, of course, free pizza. But yeah, the pizza is nice. Free pizza is nice. Everything which is free is nice. I'm mentoring people in React and Node and TypeScript and GraphQL, and a little bit of mobile, because I'm also learning mobile development right now. And the good thing about mentoring is you also learn from the person you are mentoring to. So as I hold your hand, you're also holding my hand, and we all grow together. So it's from February. I'm open. You can always reach to me through LinkedIn. Don't look for me in WhatsApp. Just get me on LinkedIn. I'm very active there. I tend to have my phone quite far from me most of the time. So if you get to me through LinkedIn, we can have a pool of people. I already have 2 people who have requested for mentorship. If we can have a little bit of more, like 10 of them, we can begin from Feb.
Yeah, that's quite an observation. I believe the audience has heard. Abel has spoken. Yeah, so you guys, anyone who is interested in mentorship, perhaps you could reach Masila through his LinkedIn profiles. We're going to send them on the chat as well. Personally, I think mentorship. I mean, the whole software development thing. It's about mentoring someone to become a better version of yourself.
Yeah.
Because I feel like we are the next pool of software developers, especially for the community in Kenya, and so we should be solid from pressure. That means that we are mentored in the right ways.
Yeah.
Okay, that is fine. So just a follow up. Somebody just asked here, what is the best way to learn? His name is Obuya.
Mm.
He asked what is the best way to learn any programming language in a short period of time. Is it by taking up a project? Oh, wow. Or reading documentation and books and taking up projects?
I have the answer for this guy out of experience. So when I got my first React job, I had not done React for a year. Like, I not done React for the whole of 2016. and 2017. Like I did React in 2017, and then I stopped. The easiest way to learn is to just take on the project and go with it. Of course, learn the basics first before you take the project. I tend to find reading or watching videos a little bit slow if you want to move fast, because this person writing this book expects that you don't know so much, and there is a very high chance that you know a lot more. So if you have the confidence of taking the project, just go with it. Learn by doing. Learn by doing. The job I got for building the Tanzanian project was my first React project. And do you know what happened? Within the first week of joining, I bought a course on Udemy by Brad Travesey, React Man. It's called the Man, the JavaScript Man, front to back. I learned that thing within a week, and I was solid in Redux. It's like I'm reminding myself. The good thing is we were building a project, and it was interactive. So there's this Slack channel where you can always ask questions, and I learned a lot within like a week. I delivered so much on the project which I was working on, because it's still Redux, it's still JavaScript, and so just take on the project. Of course, people have different ways of learning, but one thing you should be careful is don't get stuck in the tutorial hell, where you are watching videos back to back, people building to do applications on YouTube, people building social media applications on YouTube back to back. There is a channel on YouTube, I think they called Clever Programmer. They try to clone most of the applications. Don't get stuck there. Build one clone and get the project and go with it, because tutorial hell is real and it's going to waste a lot of your time. Because I think the shortest tutorial is like 5 hours. So imagine 5 hours of your day spent just watching a tutorial, then the next day, then the next day. You are just repeating things.
Yeah, thank you so much for your thoughts on that. Personally, I would say when starting up, you see now that comes into the question of mentorship. Yeah, somebody is starting out, they do not know where to go. They have no idea about this thing called tutorial hell. They find themselves on YouTube, and most of the times they're doing the same things, yeah, over and over and over and over. Then they get burnouts, and
Yeah.
things start becoming hard. And it's like, no, this is not my place. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that was nice.
Okay.
Theo, okay.
Okay, yeah, so just a follow-up also on mentorship. So, okay, sometimes you find juniors don't know, maybe they don't know or it's new, don't understand. So you find a person wants you to teach them just because you have decided to be their mentor. They want you to teach them everything. So, for example, me, I have a mentor, but like, so how we work is when I only have a technical challenge, that's when I reach out. But sometimes I find other juniors like they want you. So since you have said you will be mentoring them, they want you daily or like you teach them everything. This variable, this something. So how should mentorship be done? Yeah, so that's what I'm interested.
Perfect question, Theo. So mentorship should not be me holding your hand to the toilet and back, and I should be able to direct you there, and you should be able to go and help yourself. Mentorship should, I believe, when you grow in your career, there are some assets which you acquire, which only you know the best how to use them. For instance, if you came to me and you wanted to know how you wanted me to mentor you to learn React, I'll first direct you to learn basics of JavaScript, and I will not teach you the basics. I'll point you to a resource which, if you are looking for mentorship and you are serious, within 1 week you'll be solid with all basics of JavaScript to the advanced level. After that, then we start talking about React, and we'll talk first theoretically about all these things, and then I understand what you are looking for. But I think I believe I should not be doing these things for you. I should be able to guide you, do the things for you until you get stuck. So when you get to the React side, we'll have a project, and you'll have your deliverables. Of course, it's going to be like university, where you have to deliver things within some specific timelines. And I think this proof of interest that you want to be mentored. So if we decide that to do up within the next couple of hours, you should be able to do it. If you are not able to do it, you should be able to communicate very fast. Like, we should not do this thing for 2 days. We wanted to do this thing in 5 hours. So it's upon you to go read the documentation, understand what React does, what are components, what are these things. Ask questions as you go, as you work on this thing. It should not be like, I'm teaching you on how to use React. It's you teaching yourself and me holding your hand as you teach yourself, as you learn to how to do this thing. So and that's where tutorial help comes in. If you are used to watching YouTube videos, you'll want people to constantly help you write the code, because I've been seeing people help you write the code, and that's something which you need to get off your mind. Like, somebody told me, if you get a bug, it's just a bug. It's not the end of life. Like, you should not be helpless. Like, people get helpless. Like, you want to cry, you want to go and take a lot of alcohol and drain yourself. It's just a bug. It's not written on rock and stone. Just talk to me. I'm your mentor. We'll brainstorm this thing together and we'll come up with it. I remember there's a guy who was mentoring me when I was starting with React, and I had a very, very big problem understanding loops, and that is the maps and filters and whatnots for the arrays. So I was always getting it wrong. So this guy did not even teach me how to do it. He sent me a documentation and he sent me a huge chunk of data. He told me, I want to see these outputs from this data. Like, go and learn how to use this thing, then ask me a question what you don't understand. And that's how I even learned about functional programming. This guy did not even tell me where I should go, which YouTube video I should watch. He just told me, these are a great resource. Try to grasp it. If you cannot grasp it, talk to me. If will unblock you as soon as you can.
Wow. Yeah, so that is really great insight. It's about you learning yourself. It's me pushing, helping you by giving you, providing a base for you in order for you to learn for yourself. That is fantastic. So onto the same note, I mean, what are some of the mistakes that you did while starting out as a junior that probably you wouldn't want anyone else to go through those things themselves? Kindly share your thoughts.
One of the biggest mistake is working blindly and not knowing your impact. And let me break this down. When somebody employs you or gives you a job, they expect something from you in terms of effort and work and output. But you also need to understand how this output is being translated into either an experience or money or something good out there. You're not just building stuff out there and you don't know how it's going to be used. And that is one thing which will help you even understand how to manage your own project. If I give you a job to deliver a ticketing platform, I need you as a developer who is working on this, you need to know how much of my effort is going into this and what's the value of my effort. And once you master that is when you get to know what is important in this project and what's not important and what's valuable. And that is one thing which I did not know when I was starting out. I was just building projects for these people. I expect them to pay me, but in really sense, they are not even selling the project themselves. So you have worked. The input which you have given cannot be translated into any tangible item. So it's very hard for this person to pay you, even to process your check. They don't know what you did. There's no value for that. So every time, try to add value to what you're working on. That is something which that's one mistake which I did. Right now, I do. Even before I join a team, I want to know what part I'm playing in and what is the outcome. I think is having a little bit of high expectations. With your entry level job. If you see your friend is working for Microsoft as an entry-level engineer, they are getting a little bit of money, and you're working as entry-level at Safaricom, you're not getting the same money. Don't be frustrated about that. The goal is to learn and grow. Of course, you're getting something out of the job. So the expectations should be a little bit manageable. And another thing is not speaking up when things go wrong as an entry-level engineer or as a junior engineer. those are the mistakes which I did. Like, you die with your own problems. We are human beings. Things happen, and you need to talk to speak to somebody or to talk to somebody about this thing which is happening to you. Don't feel like you are too junior to talk to somebody who is a little bit higher in the ladder. Go and express yourself. Don't die of fatigue, and always say no when you can't. These are things which junior engineers don't have the confidence of doing. Like, you want me to work on Saturday, I won't be able to work on Saturday because that is my family time. Always make it clear. Like, always have a solid no and a solid yes. Otherwise, you'll end up being played and getting used in this tech ecosystem. So those are the problems which I think I faced. Right now, if you tell me something which I don't want to do, I'll tell you that I won't do it, and that would be a final no or a final yes if I want to do it. Saves you a little bit of energy. And take breaks too. I think most just you want to work around the clock. You're going to die very young. I have friends who have died from fatigue. Don't overwork yourself. Give yourself some time to rest. Don't impress your boss so much that you die while impressing him too. We are human beings, and people expect a lot from you. It's not just about the work. You are the only variable thing in that job. The work is constant. Once you are gone, you will hire me or they will hire Henry, and the work will continue.
Okay, so I think there's a question by Jack Zero who was asking, what advice will you give to people who are getting to start into software development? And I think the previous answers have answered this one a lot, unless there is something maybe you want to add.
Yeah. Don't get into software engineering for money. Don't get there for money. Please, you'll get frustrated. Money follows good your ability to solve problems and some certain way of behavior. If you have noticed, throughout my career, I have not really kept the money as the only constant thing in my career. I've always looked for happiness in my job, and the kind of I also look at the solutions and the impact of the things which I work. Right now, I'm very happy because I work on a product which helps so many people in the US who have mental problems. Everybody gets mental problems out there. I'm very content and I feel so good about the work I do. Just that motivation will get your boss giving you a pay rise or things like that. Just don't get into this thing because of money. Ukiona beshte yako, they have bought a very nice house, so you are getting to take to buy the house, you'll get frustrated. These journeys are very different. You'll go and start out and get paid 100 USD per month, and you'll feel so bad. When will you buy a house with 100 USD? But the goal is not the money, it's the problems you are trying to solve. So join tech with a clear vision of things which you want to solve out here. I've seen guys who have joined tech to solve automotive problems, which is a very nice thing. Like, there are guys you'll take your bike or your vehicle and they will do all kind of software things to that car, and you will pay them a lot of money. They are also software engineers, they are also IT people, they are also computer science graduates, they are also people of interest. So don't get there for the money.
Yeah, brilliant. Oh, on the same note, I think you spoke about having you are the only variable. What is constant is
Yeah.
work. And so that brings us to our next question, which is about maintaining a work-life balance. Please kindly tell us, how do you manage your work and your life? I mean, is there a balance, or there's one thing like work is much more than your other things? Kindly share your thoughts on that.
Yeah, so right now I've told you I'm a father, and I'm also a husband to somebody, and I'm also an engineer for another person. And these are important things to me. And the only way I've tried to maintain, to keep saying, is having the expectations set up front for these important people in my life: my wife, my daughter, and my employer, and my family. Setting that expectation right even before you start talking about other things is going to save you a lot of time. I have told you that a no should be a no, a yes should be a yes. My boss knows that I don't work over the weekends because it's family time, and we have always kept it that way. There's no day you will call me, tell me, yo, we need you working for the whole weekend or something like that. We have always kept the expectation and maintained some sort of behavior like that. I also do a lot of research before I work, and that helps me a lot of time. You see, you have 8 hours to work in a day from 8 a.m. to 5. You have enough time to work, but that does not mean you need to be behind your laptop for all that time. What will save you time is do the research before work, even before you start typing anything. Get your facts right, get your algorithm set. So when you are just hitting the keyboard, instead of you working for 8 hours, 8 hours only work for 4 hours. And that's how I do this thing. I think the most I've worked in a day is 7 hours right now. I do at most 4 hours a day of work, but that comes from the research I do. You give me your tasks in my sprint. I see the easy ones, I do them. The complicated one, I start researching on them. So by the time I'm working on this thing, I've already known how to have the mental breakdown of this thing, and then I'll go and work on it. Another thing is uh, still maintaining work and life balance is don't overwork yourself. Don't have a little bit of expectations, too much expectations. Yeah, they're going to keep you running so fast, and you're going to get tired very fast. I am the kind of person who's going to tell you not to look for a side job if you have a full-time job which is satisfactory to you, and I have a reason for that. You are very young right now, and your brain is actively doing the work for you. You have energy, but you see, it's just the work. You have the family. You have people around you who have known you to be a social person. The moment you start crunching 16 hours a day working, you're going to have a problem with so many things, even with your own family. If you have to get a side gig, should be not the gigs where you have to clock 8 hours, then you have a full-time job where you have to click 8 hours. You're going to die, my friend, and you are going to forget about you very soon. Or just love yourself a little bit more. Loving yourself a little bit more is going to save a lot of trouble. If you get a job which is satisfactory, you are not going to look at the money. You are going to find happiness in the job, and you're going to grow. Um, I see people doing polls on how much they make a month on Twitter, and it's giving pressure to people because this person tells you they make 2 million a month. They are a developer like you, but they are not telling you how many jobs they are doing to get this money, and how many problems they are facing in their lives, which the money can't solve. Having all that money, but you can't solve your sleeping pattern problem, your fatigue, your family not understanding why you're behaving certain way. The moment you start having an expensive job to maintain, even you start getting mad at things which have not wronged you in any way. Even you see a cow passing by, you want to eat it. It's not because the cow has done anything. It's that you are tired. Love yourself a little bit more.
Right.
Okay, that's interesting. So now that you've talked about money, so there's a question by Philo was asking, what's Abel's experience with salary negotiation?
Yeah. I always look for salary which is which satisfies your heart. There's some level of happiness money gives you, and that should be your guidance, not what we have posted on Twitter, what we make per month. It's the level of happiness which this amount of money is going to give. If you're working for 60,000 right now and somebody offers you 150,000, I think it's a fair deal, right? You can take the job. You do not be looking for 1 million job because I say that I make it, and you want to make it too. Just look for money which gives you happiness, and of course your employers are going to have a band where they want to place you within Like Andela, they usually have that band. You find that you're the same level engineer, but you're making a little bit less or more than your fellow engineers, and that's very good. So when you're going for the interview, the first thing is the job should tell you what is their expectation, what is their offer for the money. I think this is something which we have discussed in a different group. Just keep the expectation. If they are going to offer you 200,000, you already know you cannot ask for 700,000 or 500,000. The offer was very clear. But look for money which gives you happiness within that range which the company is offering you. Of course, don't take the lowest. Don't get the last offer. Like if they say that they are offering you 200,000 and you feel like 250 is going to give you happiness, of course, bargain, negotiate. Let's meet halfway.
Yeah, that is something that we have always talked about in these spaces. You know, the issue about money, because so for some people at the end of it, it's about money. You know,
Yeah.
somebody's telling you that like I'm here for the money. Yeah, I know I love doing what I'm doing, but a little bit of appreciation goes way long. And that brings me to I think the last question for today, and then we'll be taking questions. Sorry, rather responses from the audience. So my question is, I believe at some point in your life, this is not something new, you have fought with imposter syndrome. Huh.
Yes. Even right now. Even right now.
See, yeah. So, I mean, what are your sentiments, or rather, what are your thoughts about imposter syndrome? And if you overcame it, or do you possibly like make a way in which probably you can overcome it or manage it in this case? Yeah. Go ahead, Ben.
Imposter syndrome is going to happen to you as an engineer because everybody is throwing information to you left, right, and center, and you feel like you are not sufficient enough. And you want to prove to these people you are sufficient enough. And at that point is the point you should not prove to anybody that you are sufficient enough. And this because time tells. And one of the ways I've maintained to curb imposter syndrome is by having somebody who is a little bit higher than me, but we can talk at the same level. So he's a little bit experienced than me, but you can talk at the same level. And this gives you a chance to listen a little bit more than talk. This person is going to impart a lot of knowledge to you, and you at the same level. They are not belittling you. They are not saying that you don't know stuff, but they are helping you reason and express ideas in an easy way without judging you. So if you ever get to a situation where you feel like you're not sufficient enough, you want to keep on proving to people that you are a senior engineer, yet you feel like you are not a senior engineer, take a moment, take a breathe in, breathe out, and talk to somebody. It's going to help you a little bit more, even with stress and managing your work at your workplace. I usually talk to somebody. If at any point I feel like this expectation is too high, I don't think I can make it, or I'm dealing with people who are more experienced than me, I just talk to somebody, and then it ends up being like this person ends up proving to you that you know so much, and these people may even not know what you know. It gives you power. Like you cannot know it all. Also, as I told you, be teachable is one thing. Also, being teachable helps you to listen a little bit more and learn from the other people.
Fantastic. Theo.
Oh, okay, I think that's good for me. So I had a question here. So
Yeah.
people always talk about developer communities, like, but so how should a person like make the best out of a community? Because sometimes you find people maybe go there for swags or for pizza. Yeah. So how should a person like benefit from a community?
All right. Yeah. As I've told you, I'm a community person, and one way to benefit from community is actively contribute to the community. And you see, when you're contributing, you are showing people your expertise. Like right now, it's so easy for me to get a React job in the community because I've always talked about this thing for so many people, for so many times to so many people. They would feel comfortable giving me a job because I talk about this thing. I'm passionate about this. The best way to leverage on communities is actively support the community, be active, and contribute to the community. If we have a webinar somewhere, be the first person to say, I will facilitate the talk on Kotlin or Java, or I'll be the person to help you navigate things here and there. People go to see you. People, if you are, let's say you are a group person, like you bring people together. For instance, you are an event organizer with a person to help Theo or Henry to set up this thing. People will come to appreciate your skill, and you are going to get a very good job. I got a job from community, and it was paying me so well. It was a part-time job. There was not so much of the expectation. I got some money, and I put the money into good use. So communities, just be active there.
Interesting. Be active, contribute. Don't just go there for swags and pizza.
Yeah. I see there's a question from Cliff Gore, which I would want to answer. It's straightforward. How do you keep yourself updated on new tech and tech updates? I would want to answer that if there's time, like 1 minute or so. As I've always kept on telling people, it's always be teachable. And the moment you feel like you have known everything, it is moment you have not known everything. So how I keep abreast of new tech is I've subscribed to a couple of newsletters. And if you look at my TV, which is behind me, like I have specific channels where I watch stuff happen. Not tutorial stuff, like updates, news on tech stuff. And I feel like that's one way of like right now I'm interested in learning Remix Run, which is a React framework. I've not really touched the code, but from the things I've seen being done on YouTube or the blogs I've been receiving on my email, it's something which is very nice. When I get time, I'll go there, read the documentations. If it's something interesting, I work on a project, like a dummy project, and at least I know this thing. Right now, I'm learning Swift for iOS development and Swift UI, and I'm enjoying the journey. Despite me knowing how to do React Native and Java development, I still want to learn iOS because there's a need for that, and I believe we have shortage of iOS developers. So if you can learn and put yourself out there as one engineer who's working on iOS, it's going to be a nice thing. So just subscribe to interesting things which are helpful, not things which won't help you. Like there are blogs. I think there's a nice blog from Hashnode. I think I'll share the link. They keep updating new stuff.
Okay, we'll share the link, then I will add it on the description. So there's a question by Adadi. So he was asking, after how long is it appropriate to move from one job to another, i.e. from one organization to another?
Oh yeah, that's a very good question. And let me tell you how an hiring manager will think about you based on your career changes. If you're the kind of person to work for a company for 3 months, 4 months and leave for more than 3 times, you are the problem and not the companies. So if you can hold on to a company for a year, have impact on something, like work on something tangible, learn and impact this company, that 1 year is enough. I would not advise you to quit your job after 3 months. You are proving to your hiring manager that you are not manageable. And people learn. There's no way you will have 6 jobs in 1 year. You are definitely the problem. Either you're not performing well, imposter syndrome kicked in, you cannot work, you cannot deliver, or you have too many jobs to work at the same time. You cannot do anything. And people know these things. So I think the best time to work for companies is 1 year to 2 years. After that, you can switch and move to another job. And working for 1 year for a company gives you a chance to get a pay rise if you are performing, and you'll be documenting that in your LinkedIn. also get a promotion. Within 1 year, you can get a promotion and you document that on LinkedIn. That means you are a growing person. You're not stagnant. So the moment you stay for a company for 5 months, 6 months, you even do not get a chance to get a promotion. You even, because you're onboarded, 2 months of onboarding, 1 month of working, second month of complaining that you're working not successfully, that month of quitting. So you have not learned anything, you have not impacted anything.
Okay. So there's a question also from Robert asking, what's your advice in working in a team, and just your experience you have gained on a team dynamics?
But let me read that. I think I missed that. Robert, what advice is advice in working in a team and your experience you have gained in team? And the best advice is working on a team. Always be the person to take the blame, and there's a reason for that. You see, when things happen in a team, there's always a little bit of friction, transferring of risk. Who did this? Blame. Be the person to take the blame and work on it, and always be a team player. I believe the moment you start being receptive and not accepting feedback, you are showing signs of not being a team player. If, let's say, the CEO comes to, let's say, somebody tags you on Slack, hey, why is this login thing failing? You know very well it's not your fault, but you know where the fault is at. Take that in, communicate that you are working on it, and then contact the person who's supposed to fix things and report back. If you start pointing out your Henry is the one who's working on the back end is failing, you're not a team player. Like, it's supposed to be a team thing. So being the person to take the blame and report back, it's good. Also working in a team, and the experience I've also gained is that always over communicate, and developers are very good at not communicating in a simple way. Imagine telling your CEO the REST API has got a 5,000 error. You cannot really understand what you really meant. You can easily tell your boss that our infrastructure is down. The simple language. Over communicate and avoid technical communication to people who are not technical. You are not always talking. You are not always working with technical people. You have managers. You have HR. You have project managers. Some who are not technical. Your ability to communicate technically and to express your ideas to people who are not technical is going to save you a lot in a team. Nobody wants QA does not want to understand that your React package in Redux is needing an update. They will not get that. So if you understand it to communicate technically and not technically, and non-technically, it's a good thing for a team.
Okay, so I think this is the last question we'll be taking, because I can see time is up and it's a weekend. We need to enjoy ourselves. So, any advice? So, this question was from Adadi. Any advice for someone looking for a remote work outside the country? Maybe if you can highlight ways that has worked for you in your search.
Wow, yeah, we should all go remote, and if you can get a job outside Canada, you're going to get a little bit of pay rise there, because they are paying up to standards right now. If you want to work outside the country, first thing which is going to check for you is being able to communicate very well in English, not even in React or in PHP or in Angular. You to be able to communicate very well in English is going to save you a lot of time, because you can express yourself right there. Of course, knowing your staff is going to serve you too. So if you are a front-end engineer or you're back-end, knowing your staff is going to help you there. And the easiest way of joining a company outside the country is, don't look for the top senior roles out there. If Netflix is looking for a senior engineer, they are really looking for a senior engineer with over 10 years experience who has done lots of stuff. So with your 5 years experience as a senior engineer in Kenya, don't apply for that role. They will not even consider you. Look for mid-level engineering roles if you have not hit the real senior engineer level of your career. If you have noticed, I have removed all senior engineer stuff from my profile, just a software engineer, because I believe there's so much for me to learn. And 6 years of experience I would not call myself a senior engineer, still a software engineer. I have still master leadership. have to still team to project management. These things are not technical. So for you to really apply for that role out the country, look for something which you really know you can perform. These people are looking for smart people, and they want you to perform. So one way you can get a job outside Kenya is going to Stack Overflow jobs. Stack Overflow jobs, they have nice jobs offers there. That is one place. I've seen Stack Overflow. There's a company called Squad. Squad is, I think, is an Indian company. They are more like Andela. They hire people. They link you with companies. I've shared the link. It will be shared out there. They are looking for. They're always looking for engineers. We also have arc.dev by Google. I've shared the link. They have nice jobs. I believe you can get them. They're not very complicated. But read the job description. Know that is something which you can do. Like 80%, 90% of it before you apply. I've seen Twitter posting they are looking for senior engineers, and some funny guys apply and then they get mad when they get rejected.
That's interesting. So I've shared the link you have shared. So there are some questions about. So there's a question from Combo asking about active React communities in Kenya.
Oh yeah, we have very nice community on Twitter, and we have one on WhatsApp. The WhatsApp one is the oldest one. And I think we have not had any meetup recently, but we are planning. I am planning with Rama and some other guy to have a physical meetup here in Nairobi. I've shared the link to for the Twitter one. The WhatsApp one is always full because it started a long time ago, even before I joined Andela, even before I started working for all these companies I've worked for. It's always full. So fast, but the easy way to get is to get us through React Devs KE. Share the link there. This WhatsApp one, I don't know whether we are going to have any slots anytime soon, but you can DM me. I'll send you the link, and you can keep on trying. If somebody leaves, you can just join. I'll share the link with you.
Okay. So I'll follow up on the links then. Also, there was someone who was asking about the links for your subscriptions.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So let me send
things
I've subscribed to. I'll share them with you, and then we'll post on it.
Okay, so we'll share them. Then for your number, should I share it, or they can reach out through?
No.
Okay, let them reach out through LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So I think you're winding up, and so in case you have any last advice you want to say, or just a parting shot, you can.
All right. Yeah. So, parting shot is always try to excel in whatever you do. Try to be the best. Try to be the last person your employer wants to fire, in case they want to fire people. Like, you be the last person they'll think they want to fire, and this comes from being putting in the work and be proactive in your company, and be the person who goes the extra mile. Let me tell you one thing which I usually tell people: being employed and starting your own company, we both have equal chance of success in life. There's no person who has got a upper hand in that. You can always get lucky with this thing. You have seen tech companies start and go. You have seen engineers work well for other companies, and they are very rich out there. They have money, they have all the things you want in life. You also have seen companies which have done so well. So don't pressure yourself like, I want to be the entrepreneur right now. I want to know everything, do everything. Take some time. I believe like in your 20s, you should be working under somebody just to learn how to run this thing and ways not to run it. Then in your 30s, you can try to come up with your own stuff. So I think that's a parting shot. If you're employed, give your employer the best. If you have a company, give the company the best. Money will always follow you. Like, money is not. I don't think money is a problem in tech. People are always willing to pay you the offer, the money which one.
Wow. That's a good take on that. I believe you have learned so much. I can say on myself a lot for this session. We could have go on and go on again and again because there are always questions. But as they say, Developer Stories Africa is a home for everyone. Perhaps we would love to have this talk again. We want to invite you again so that we will come and share more insights. But I believe I have learned a lot from you today, and we really have an interesting session on the chat session where I saw people commenting, asking questions. That was really nice. I mean, people are actually following up and trying to make impact. So for us, at Developer Stories Africa, we believe that we want to provide people with the opportunity to come on and see that it's not impossible. If somebody out there did it, then you can do it. It takes time, as you say, but you always
Yeah,
get there. Yeah, thanks, Leroy. Leroy has commented it's very refreshing, and I think passing short as well. But this has been very impactful, I can say, and I'm really looking forward to have another of these sessions and more of the same. So it's thank you
cool.
and goodbye from us.
Bye bye.
Bye.